Alrighty guys, welcome back to Ether Bandit's Garage. Today, we're gonna see if we can't get this thing to turn a little bit looser. Which guys, if y'all watched the other video, y'all will know that with using a grease zerk, we got it loose. But I still can't turn it over by hand, so it's not that loose, it's just stiff. And so as a result, today's project is going to be getting it turning better. And I went ahead and I moved it to in front of my shop to where I can actually not have to spend a lot of time getting tools. And I pulled this cover off to inspect, which it is rather clean in here. There is a fair amount of rust in the bottom of that cylinder. If y'all can see that, yeah, you can. And this one crank throw has a decent bit of flash rust on it. But I think other than that, they don't look too bad in here. And there are a number of things that could be stopping this. One is the pistons. 2, distributor. 3, oil pump. 4, governor. 5, fan shaft, which I need to watch for yellow jackets. Which, it's, I just need to cut this. Okay, let's try that, because that is much better now. Because that was stiff. But I guess that alternator's just locked up. That's okay, it'll core. And, that is not smooth, but it turns. And I think I'm gonna go ahead. Probably want to pull this clutch apart, just because the tractor is stuck in gear, which that's okay. But I don't know. I think that something's wrong with the clutch, because I can't engage it or disengage it. Because I have the clutch engaged, and it still it doesn't do anything. So I'm gonna take this apart, make sure there's nothing colliding with the engine, and I'm gonna pull this distributor off because I'm gonna throw a mag on it. Just because it's nice to not have to have this battery, and I don't know. We'll see. Just whatever I'm feeling. I guess we'll get back to y'all if I get any updates. I might also take my persuader right here and just stick it in there and see what'll happen. My original thinking was I can disconnect a rod and see if one rod is more stuck than the other. But we're just gonna have to see. So, I just want to go ahead and start out. This is not a good start to this whole series, because if you happen to notice, the crank turns, the crank does not turn, but this piece does. That is not good. It is supposed to be that piece and the crank, or this together. So I think this crank is done for. And we'll take it apart, show y'all, but as of right now, this is not looking good. Anybody got a John Deere 60 crank laying around? And one of these things? Because that's pretty much gonna probably kill this project. I'll probably still be looking out for a 60 crank, but it's kind of a bummer. I was really hoping to get this tractor running for cheap, and that just went from, this thing just made it from cheap to just ungodly expensive. Which, honestly, I'm still probably I'm gonna keep my eyes out for a crank. And if we find one, great. If we don't find one, I'll find one. Okay guys, so I took a 36-inch pipe wrench and put it on the flywheel like so, which is not ideal, But it worked because I had the grease gun on it already. That's why I broke it loose. And then you notice there is grease, 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 grease. Grease was blown a long way. Oh my goodness. There is grease on the fence. There's a long way from that tractor. Whoops. And there's grease on me. But with taking it and doing that with it to get it to turn, now I can take my hand, turn it real smooth. I mean, it's a little stiff in places, but that's to be expected. It was stuck. But no valves are stuck. No push rods are bent. If it shows some promise, but I guess since I have it turning so well, I guess I'm gonna have to swap a crank. It could be fun. I mean, it turns good. So the way I look at it with a tractor is you look at how much you're going to have into it, how much you're going to have out of it, and also I just like wrenching on these junky old things. So a couple expensive things to think about is the crank, the block, and the head. The crank's screwed. The block appears to be fine. The head appears to be fine. We don't have any stuck valves. All these valves, like this valve was depressed and now it came back. Don't have any stuck valves. I know it was holding antifreeze because I took the drain plug out and antifreeze came out. So that means the head and the cylinder are not messed up, not cracked. So then, I mean, other than like sheet metal, which it's dented there, but from there you go on to look at the carburetor, because that's another very expensive thing. If you look at this carburetor, the needle and seat is not even stuck. Like everything, I don't know if this turns. Yeah, that turns. Choke turns. So like, that's all good. We can rebuild the water pump. Fan's fine. Flywheel's fine. Fan's fine. So like, if you look at it from that perspective, like we need a battery box, but the seat's fine. Tires, but I think I have a lead on some old tires. And it's stuck in gear, but this still turns good. It's stuck in gear. But yeah, so I don't know what exactly we're gonna do. I need to price a crankshaft for it. And one of those thingies, whatever. I think that's a counterbalance. Or no, that's the clutch drive. But other than that, it should be a pretty damn good tractor. Okay, guys. I think we're gonna go ahead and order a new crank, or a brand used crank, for this little 60. I wasn't going to until I priced one, and they were like $200 on eBay, which I found a guy that would sell me one for $100 if I go pull it. Don't know if I want to do that quite yet or not, but I do want to say that a big hang up for me was that the transmission was stuck in gear. And so since then, I pulled this transmission cover off, which was relatively a pain because you have to unbolt it from the upper pedestal and whatever. And it was just stuck in gear. I lined up, see how all these forks are lined up? They were not, this one was way over here and this one wasn't lined up. This one was over here. and I straightened them all up. And now it turns, and you can see there's a gear down there that turns and nothing turns on the transmission. But for funds, let's go ahead and put this in gear. As you can see, I put it in gear there. This thing moves a little bit and it returns. Tractor physically tries to go forward. But now, whenever I pull it back, if it'll go back. Now that I realign that, pulley spins freely. So, and after looking at all these gears, I don't have a problem with any of them. I think I'm gonna go ahead and see about digging up a crank for this tractor. A crank and a new clutch drive. But other than that, I think this will be a pretty good tractor. Which, yeah, so still gonna be a little bit of a project, but I hate seeing these things go to waste. So I guess at some point I will dig up a crank for this poor old girl, and we will have to see if we can't get her going again. So don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And y'all don't have too much fun. Catch y'all next time.